used to sit and store what I'm about to preach on. Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way. But don't let that get you down, girl.
Assalamu alaikum, Suemyya.
Walaikum assalam, Nadia. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I am so happy that we are doing this together today.
I am super excited. I'm so excited.
I mean, we go all way back, all the way back to last year, right?
Yes, we do. We started our journey together, Nadia.
But it feels like it's been years, I feel like I've known you for so long. Thank you for being here and bringing your light here today. I'm so happy to have you on.
Thank you for having me here, Nadia. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this incredible piece that you've put together. Thank you.
And the sisterhood is strong. It's really been remarkable to see how we have been able to grow, not just in terms of our learning, but in terms of our confidence and our trust levels and the willingness to take leaps and to jump. It's really been a tremendous journey all throughout a pandemic.
Yes,
and so
Yes. we started our journey, our business journey, when the pandemic had just started.
Yeah.
And, in the ideal world, there was a lot of uncertainties, perhaps not the best time to launch a business when we had kids, working from home, studying from home. And so, yes, we've seen each other grow. We've seen growth. We've seen things behind the scenes.
Yes.
And it's been just a wonderful time to see you grow, Nadia, and to see, women stepping out of their comfort zone during the pandemic and taking the leap.
Yes. It's been beautiful to watch and to participate in. Absolutely. Now, tell people what's going on over on your side of the world. I'm in Toronto. You're in Egypt. What's happening over there?
Egypt, during lockdown has been a wonderful place to live, and I'm as you know, Nadia, I was actually born and raised in the UK, and my husband 5 years ago had a job opportunity here in Egypt, and we took this opportunity. At that point, neither my husband and I had visited Egypt, but it felt right. And we thought, why not? Why not? And so, during the pandemic, it's been actually a really nice place to live. I've just found the leadership here to be a place of compassion. And I think because of that, it's had a real positive effect in the local community. The local residents have been very resilient to a lot of resilience towards what's happening. So I think that's really helped positive energy and positive vibes within the local environment. So it's.
And I've been living through your photos, just enjoying the warmth from your photos as much as I could. So thank you for that.
We're really blessed. We live in a beautiful compound here, which is full of palm trees, and it's just lovely to wake up in the morning and just feel so relaxed. So occasionally I do share my photos on my Facebook group to cheer you all up.
Oh, thank you. We over in the cold, we appreciate it, especially those of us from a warmer climate stuck in the cold. We so appreciate it. Now, You've told us that you're a mom. You've told us you're a wife. You've told us you're born in the UK. You're living this fabulous expat life. Tell us more about you. Who is Suemyya? What do you do? How do you help? Who do you serve?
That's such a not a difficult question, but where do I start? Who am I? That's such a good question. Society likes to answer this question from a place of what's your professional background?
Right.
So let me start with my professional background. I'm actually a qualified social worker, and I've worked in the field of social work for the last 15 years, which includes working as a child protection social worker for the second largest child protection team in the UK, which is Birmingham City Council. And that was a wonderful, wonderful experience, just really, really wonderful experience. And I've also had an opportunity to work as a school social worker for private international schools. And so that, again, was a wonderful experience. So that's me on a professional level. And it was actually my personal journey that led me to my professional life. So yes, I'm a mother, got 3 kids under the age of 7. Happily yes. Happily married to an amazing guy who's just incredibly supportive. He goes above and beyond. He really, truly does. He pushes me and encourages me, and sometimes has very, direct conversations with me. And sometimes I need that, especially, the field of work that I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do I help? I actually help ambitious women, including leaders, CEOs, professional women, heal their inner blocks, and for them to transform and launch their purpose-driven business.
Yes.
So they can create an impact in the world, and they can make a positive influence and give their clients just phenomenal results.
Yes. And I can attest to that because I've worked with you, Suemyya, and it was really transformational for me. The ability to start tapping into not just the stories that were told, but it's almost like the untold story, the story I didn't even hear myself because it wasn't allowed, but it was driving my beliefs. And I'll tell you, like, hypnotherapy, growing up in church, hypnotherapy was like a no-no, and I know you also come from a religious perspective where hypnotherapy is like a no-go.
It's actually not a no-go. People assume it's a no-go. But when you look deep into it, there are actually scholars that say, no, if you're struggling and it's affecting you on a spiritual level, it's actually mandatory for you to take care of your emotions and do whatever it takes and have therapy. And hypnotherapy is actually, some of my teachers have recommended it. And they've said it's actually a really good form of therapy to get to your deep root cause of your blocks.
Yes. Yeah. And one thing I realized is that things that I said I believed, I acted in contrary to the beliefs that I professed. And that was because the belief was still sitting on top of a deeper psychological block and hindrance that was there. And so only when that was removed could that belief actually settle in and become more real to me and manifest itself in my actions and my activities and my decisions and my speech and, things like that. So
this is why I actually work with highly ambitious women. These are women in our society that are so high flying. They have gone above and beyond to get certified, and they give so much to society. Externally, they are seen to be so successful, so confident, yet internally they're having blocks. and they're not reaching their next level in their maybe business or their personal growth, because on a subconscious level there's all patterns and stories that keeps playing, and they're not even aware. That's the thing, they're not aware, and they're trying their best. It could be even their personal life. And I literally, what I do, I feel like a surgeon, and I go in and I find out where these blocks are, because I've been doing this. And for the last 15 years, especially working in social work and seeing the effect of trauma, abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, I've firsthand seen that effect and the consequence. So yeah, I go in and I find where these blocks are and removing them. And it's these women in our society, these highly ambitious women. Once you heal those blocks, they then create a phenomenal impact in our society, because they are they are really ambitious as it is. Once you unblock that small block, they're just able to create something so big.
Yes, absolutely. And I just really want to echo so much of what you're saying, because as visionary women, we know that we can have these big lofty ideas, and we can get like a lot of energy from those ideas. We might forget to eat and forget to sleep and forget to do all of these things to take care of ourselves, because we are actually fueled by this big dream. And I want everyone to hear that we are not fueled by this big dream with, because everything was perfect in our lives. There are a lot of visionary women who are dealing with the remnants of multiple layers of trauma they experienced as children, as teenagers, as young women. Things that you mentioned just now, Suemyya, struggles with sexual violence, substance abuse, self-harm, emotional, physical, mental, psychological, financial violence perpetrated against them, systemic violence, systemic racism, all of these things, but they continue. And sometimes as visionary women, we might see the progress in our careers or in our businesses or in our nonprofits and use that to overcompensate for the trauma that we're dealing with, as opposed to taking the time to heal that trauma so that our activity flows from that place of healing, as opposed to overcompensating for it.
Yes.
I just really want to hit that home.
Nadia, it's true. And just going back to what you said about abuse, Nadia, there's about 1 in 5 women who are sexually abused. And this is something that these women are still living in guilt and shame, and it's not their fault, and they've never been able to disclose that. And yes, as visionary women, what happens is that, especially those women, Nadia, that have experienced trauma, and you will find that those women have been patient for all these years, right? And then when it gets to a stage where they just cannot take it anymore, and it's usually they see in their personal life, or they just see in their professional life that they just cannot give, it's not even reaching their next level of success, that they're just not able to reach out to the clients that they want and create the impact that they want, that they think, okay, maybe I need to get help. And you will find for the last 30 years, they've been so patient, just not mention this trauma to anyone. Right. And I truly believe, Nadia, that these women, this is my belief, and from all the research that I've done with all these women that I've worked, is that God gives them a gift. And these women, once they heal, oh my God, like throughout the last 30 years, the pain that they've suppressed, there's a special part in them that God is creating. The vision is getting bigger and stronger, and the determination is getting stronger. And once they heal their past, they're just ready to shine on a different level. And I see women, Nadia, I'm not exaggerating, but I see women transform in front of my eyes.
Yes.
And then within 30 days after we finish working together, or 60 days, depending on the package, I just see a different woman in front of me, and it's so heartwarming.
And that gives, so much purpose to the work that you're doing for yourself to continue to be able to serve in that space. So again, thank you for that. Thank you for journeying with so many of us, and supporting us. Yes.
It's a pleasure. It's, I'm not going to lie. It is difficult as an entrepreneur. It is difficult being a mom and trying to balance, motherhood and also your business, especially when you're kind of still building your business from scratch. It takes a lot of effort, but it's that every morning I wake up and it's like, who can I help today? It's not about me, it's about, there are women out there. And sometimes, you just want to pack up and think, maybe I just go back to a full-time job. There's just a lot of security there. And then you think, no, I can't. There's so many women out there that need my help. Let's carry on. Let's just take a breather. Let's take some time out. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Let's start tomorrow again. And that's what it is. It's these women out there that need your help, and you can help them. That's what gives us as visionary women that courage to keep going every day.
Yes. No, you're touching on an important point here. As visionary women, the vision gives us the courage to keep going. In your opinion, what is the importance of vision?
Gosh, so my opinion, what's the importance of a vision? Nadia, I must admit, I've never had a vision. Right? I've never had a vision. Okay. I've just had a calling. Okay. And I remember when I was like 16, right? Girls from my culture, Nadia, after they left college, they got married. Right. At the age of 8, that was just the norm. But my heart was inclined to doing and creating something bigger. So it's having and listening to that calling. But what's important is that listening to that calling and making that a vision. Listen to your heart. What is it that it wants to create? What impact does it want to have? Right. Okay. Let's now have a vision. Let's go put a plan of action and do it. So yes, my husband sometimes has to really deal with the way I work. It's not the mind it's not the boss of him, it's the heart. Sometimes it doesn't make logical sense. So it's important for us to have a vision, because then what your heart is calling, you can then have a vision and you can see it and you can keep focus of where you're heading and what you want to do.
Yes. And just as the eyes are above the heart, when we start with our calling, we elevate to vision. It's like the next step, going from here up here and making sure that the connection remains, so that one is always informing the other,
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the heart is there for growth. And that's what I really, the heart is there for growth. The brain is logical and it will keep you stuck. It will keep you in a state of familiarity.
Keep you safe. Yeah.
Safe, survival and protection. So this is why, I kind of try to work backwards. Listen to the heart, then create a vision, then the mind.
Yes.
And then just keep going forward. So it's absolutely important to have vision, because then you have that alignment with your heart, your vision, and your goals.
Yes, love that. Now, we are here talking about our cultures and our lives as wives and as moms and all of these things that we're doing. As a woman growing up in the UK, and now you've lived in other countries, you're experiencing different cultures. Has there ever been a time where you felt as though your own voice was diminished or silenced?
Yes, this is a very interesting question that you're asking me. I grew up. It was a very interesting childhood that I had, Nadia. And now I look back and it was very interesting, because I grew up from a culture where women had to remain silent. That's what women did. That's what little girls did. They didn't share their opinion. They didn't voice themselves. Yet, My father was somebody who really empowered me to have a voice. Okay, I didn't realize at the time, but I realize it now. Whenever there was something, he would ask my opinion and he would listen. Okay, and he would always often sit me down and say, "This is what I'm thinking, what's your opinion?" Or "This is what we're thinking." And I was constantly sharing my opinion and sharing my views. And so it was very normal for me. But when I went outside this box, okay, women in my society didn't understand me. They thought I was too opinionated, I was too independent, which wasn't seen positive. So there was a battle and there was a conflict. So as I was growing up, there was part of me you could see my dad was trying to empower me, encourage me to be powerful and successful and confident. But then I saw another side, and the women around me were trying to remove layers of my voice. So yeah, it was very interesting. So yeah, throughout my childhood, I had this disalignment, and it's only
Yes.
now I think I have the courage to voice what has happened to me. And I really do think it was my dad who really gave me that courage. And now, if I had a father that hadn't and had cultural beliefs, not even religious, just cultural beliefs, then I really don't think I could have the courage to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so funny because we share that similar strain growing up in very different places, and growing up in the Caribbean, children are meant to be seen and not heard, and all of that
Yes.
came through, and we share the remnants of colonialism and and all of that. So that British culture also of strong authority figures and who submits to whom, and uniforms and all of these things. And my father I grew to realize that my father was not the average melanated Caribbean man, because
Yes.
he would ask us as his daughters, what we thought. He would create space for us to actually air our opinions. And we would have these family gatherings, Christmas and New Year's and whatever celebration there was. And at one point, after everyone ate, all of the men would gather, to talk politics, religion, whatever was going on in society. And the women would go off and do whatever the women do, and the kids would go off and run and play. Now, I can't tell you what the women did, and I can't tell you what exactly the kids were playing, because I was sitting on my dad's lap. Right? That's where I was. And eventually, as I got older, I was sitting next to him, and he would throw the ball to me and make sure that among all of these older men that I was given, a place to speak. And that was revolutionary, quite frankly.
Yes,
You
and this is
know?
exactly what my dad did. This is exactly
Mhm.
what he did. When we had like extended family get together, he would in front of everyone, my mom, my aunties, and I do now. I look back, I do think the ladies actually found that a little bit strange, and I did have certain negative labels attached to myself because of
Mhm.
this empowerment. Um, but yeah, no, I do feel, yeah, it's
Yes.
when it comes to being authentic as
Yes.
a child, the culture that I was raised, girls were seen but not supposed to believe, not supposed to be heard.
Mm. Yeah. And that's a big clue for all of us who are parents of girls, what do you call it? Girl dads and girl moms, yeah, your kids, they're tiny humans. They have their own brains, they have their own opinions. And, we can't also expect them to start suddenly making good decisions and suddenly speaking up when they're grown, or even when they're teenagers, when life gets super crazy, when we never gave them the ability to flex those muscles as
Yes.
children in a safe environment. So
Yes.
big
My
clue.
daughter, yeah, my daughter's very, strong-minded, very opinionated, and I have to remind myself, I cannot close this voice that she's got.
Yes.
I can already see she's got leadership skills. And I have to constantly remind myself, I've got to empower this girl. And yes, I've got to. And yes, I have to pass on the gift that my dad gave me without me realizing at the time. I need to pass that on to the next generation and not cut her voice away.
Exactly. Kudos to you, Mommy, for doing that, for sure.
We all try our best.
Oh my gosh. Now, the idea now of your dad gave you space for your opinions. Your dad empowered your voice. And you've been able to track your milestones and look and see how things have shaped you. The women that you referred to, they had their labels for you, but you can hold on to that and say, hey, I was able to be, bold, and I was able to be strong and to be courageous because of this. So you know what the narrative is. You know the version of your story that needs to be told. How does the idea of writing your version, of creating your version, your own story, taking control of that narrative, how does that make you feel?
I didn't realize I had a story until I started my entrepreneurship journey. I didn't know, Nadia. All I knew, I had this calling and I had to do something. Middle of pandemic, and my heart was like, I was yearning to create an impact. Since starting my entrepreneurship journey and also having a lot of therapy as well, I've realized that, I have a story. And that story is turning your pain into power. And that's the narrative, I would say, is that, yes, I've had a lot of difficulties during my childhood. In fact, my childhood was taken away, no fault of anyone. But that pain that I experienced in my childhood has given me the power and the strength what I do today. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be doing what I am. Going through what I went through as a child. My siblings were randomly disabled when I was 4. A lot of my friends don't even know of this story. It's just recently I've been able to share this. My brother passed away when I was 9. My granddad and grandma passed away a few months after that. And then immediately after, my mum she broke down. And then ever since that day, my mum has been on medication for mental health. But now I look back, Nadia, and I just think, gosh, if somebody sat with my mum and got to the root cause, which was shock, having your kids just randomly be paralyzed, then you losing your son and your mother-in-law and your father, grief, none of that was available at that point. So straight away, it was a medical intervention, Nadia, which for 25 years, now 30 years, she's just been on medication. Every 6 months, they try a different medication. If it works, you try another one. And so I've seen her suffer. And so, and then after that, my sister passing away when I was day before my 16th birthday. She was buried on my birthday. So that narrative could be, oh, poor old Suemyya, let's feel sorry for her. Let's all just try to make her life better. No, I got to take responsibility, make my own life better and create something for the world. If I can get through this, Nadia, really, we can all get through this. Not that I'm saying that this is, this is traumatic, but we can all get through our trauma if we just allow these gifts. So this would be my narrative. I had, in some way, the best experience in my childhood, because otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today.
It's so true. It is so true. And again, that idea of pain into power, and what's been coming to me a lot recently is purpose to the pain, that there was all of it has reason and rationale, and it may not make sense while we're going through it. But years later, when we watch how all of the right tiles fell into place to create the right path for us, we can look back and we can say, oh, that's why, and that's why it had to be me. We say, oh, why me? Why me? But no, it had to be me. It had to be me out of my siblings. It had to be me out of my culture. It had to be me out of my family. It had to be me. There was purpose to all of it.
Nadia, absolutely. I was the first girl that went to university in my family. I was the first girl out of out of all the boys that went and completed her masters. What has that created? It's made it's so easy for the next generation, the girls, to go out, go to uni, have a professional job. I was the first, girls from my community, Nadia, only got married within the community. I didn't. Now, the impact of that is that my dad's the biggest advocate now.
Yes.
Whenever he finds out of, someone marrying outside the community, he will do whatever he can to empower that to happen.
Yes.
He will use his daughter as an example now.
Yeah. Now he has that to run on. Yeah.
So yes, I could sit here and feel sad for myself. So why me? Why am I the first female entrepreneur in my family? But maybe I've been given this gift to empower other women in my culture, in my family, my community. So yeah.
Yes. And that there wraps up the purpose and the power, because it is the gift that we were given that helps our community. That is, all in a nutshell there. Everything we've been through, every decision we've made, every circumstance, all of it is wrapped up in creating this gift that we can then pour into our community, where we serve them and where they can grow and be victorious and be better and just be blessed by it. Yeah, absolutely.
As I grew up and while I was growing up, Nadia, I didn't see any positive female leaders from my community. I just didn't. And the other day I was sad and I was really trying, and within my community, I didn't. At least girls from my community can see female entrepreneurs stepping out of their comfort zone. At least on a subconscious level, it empowers them to create something out of their comfort zone and gives them possibilities.
Yes.
Which girls from my community, when I was growing up, we weren't given possibilities. It was kind of a contract that it was, this is what happens at this certain age.
Yeah, no, it's like we do what we're required to do, we'll educate you, but then fall in line, and in Barbados, there was this odd similarity, right? It was go to school, get a good job, get your education, and I remember the older women in church, generally it's go to school, get your education, get a good job. But the older women always added on something else at the end. So your husband can't control you. Oh, and I'm talking about like women in their 90s. And that I was so surprised as a teenager. They always added that last part, because that was their generational experience too, coming out. And so even though things may have been a little bit different in the generations, that need for power and control still remained. And so then this became not just about your life, this became about your survival. You have to go to school and you have to get your education, because you can't live, the way how I lived, And so then it was this, they may not have been talking to me as examples of what to do, but they were speaking to me from a place of, please do something different from what I did, and that, again, that intergenerational, that ability to come back, that conversation that happens, with like 50, 60, 70 years between us, it's powerful. Those are lessons that from our elders that we need to hold on to and just,
That's
really
like
grab hold of.
second generation giving you a piece of advice. That's
Exactly.
powerful. And they've
Yeah.
seen something, they're talking from perspective of now, not from like perspective of when they were like your age. They're seeing
Exactly.
certain things that they have seen may benefit you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why, ladies, it's so important for us to open up and start sharing these stories, because we hold the key to unlock somebody else's door, that helps them to have those blockages removed and see their healing. Now, in all of this, we are talking about bringing our women into this space of healing and transformation, and we're talking about watching the changes in our own lives and in our communities, etc. This idea of victory, what imagery comes to your mind when you hear the word victory?
Nadia, I just see women who are healed
Mm,
and not passing on their trauma onto the next generation. I just want this. For me, victory is putting an end to trauma. I was recently speaking to a friend, and she's like, many people are scared. Many women are scared to go back to their past and heal it. There's a lot of reluctance. Give yourself this gift. It's not for you, it's for the next generation. For me, victory is us women healing, because it's, then we break the cycle. I remember after I gave birth to my daughter and I held her, and I said to myself, oh my gosh, no, forget a fancy car, forget a big house. I need to sort myself out.
yeah.
As a child, no fault of anyone, love wasn't familiar. My mum was unwell, and I became my mum's carer at a young age, and I held her and I said, not gonna pass on my weeds to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for me, victory is us women investing in ourselves,
Mm,
giving ourselves a gift to heal. We
mm,
live in a materialistic society where everything is tangible, and if we can see something, a bigger car, a bigger house, we're successful. Success is us healing ourselves internally. This is victory.
perfect.
For us just to create a generation where we are taking one step at a time to heal our past. And so our kids can be raised in an environment which is not toxic, okay? Which an environment which they have unconditional love.
Mm,
That will
absolutely.
allow them to have a brighter future.
Mm,
Love is the best medicine. And we can't do that unless we heal our blocks. So, yeah, that
yes.
to me is victory. And I just see women across the world all coming together, just openly sharing our stories.
Yes.
And I
Oh
see
my.
pockets of women. I see pockets of women, Nadia, who've been sexually abused and not spoken about this abuse. Just all these women coming together and creating this empowerment circle and saying, yes, this is what's happened. And this is what I've created as a result of my pain. And this is how my children have benefited.
Absolutely. I mean, that idea of victory extending to the next generation, I don't think I considered that. That is so powerful in its simplicity, that victory is not just about us winning, it's about the fruit of our loins winning, it's about, and even if we don't give physical birth, it's about making sure that next layer, that next group, those next, sweethearts, that they are winning too, because now they get a head start. They're not starting from our deficit. We don't hand them the negative numbers, right? They get to start a few steps down the road and be supported, you know, as they look to grow and to learn and to explore themselves even more. You know, that is so, so true.
It's not, the next generation don't need financial support.
Mm,
They need you to be the best version of you.
mm,
That's what I see victory. Us women saying to ourselves, I'm going to be the best version of me for
that's
my
right.
kids.
That's right.
Give them the best version of you. And we've created an impact in the world for
That's
several
right.
generations.
That's so true. Oh my
Because you
goodness.
see it again and again. Women who've been raised in a toxic environment or unhealthy environment with rage, and they've said, I will not do this. But what happens? The cycle continues on a
Oh,
subconscious
exactly.
level because the pattern hasn't been removed. Let's remove it and just
Yes.
create something better for our kids.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh man, Suemyya, thank you.
You know, dear, for having me. It's an absolute honor.
This was such a power-packed lunch, you know. This is oh my goodness. And I want everyone to know that Suemyya will be leading masterminds with us, with our HERstory team throughout the year, beginning in April. This is what we're talking about all year long. We're talking about vision, voice, version, and victory. And if you want to be able to tap into her wealth of wisdom, of which she shares so generously, then please make sure that you are in the membership so that you could be a part of her monthly masterminds. You get 5 masterminds each month from 5 amazing women from literally across the globe. You do not want to, we're talking about investing in ourselves to be our best selves. We are bringing you as many perspectives as we can because we want to serve all the facets of you as a visionary woman. You know, we know you're not just isolated. You're not just a mom. You're not just an entrepreneur. You're not just a nonprofit leader. You're not just any one thing. All of it needs to be nurtured, you know, and that's why we're here to create this community so that we get this holistic success and not these isolated pockets of success like we've been experiencing before. And we've talked so much and we've talked freely and openly about situations like substance abuse and sexual violence and all of these different violences that are perpetuated upon women, and especially women who sit in the intersections of marginalized groups. And I want you to know as well that everything we do this year is in support of the Beautiful Foundation, which works to specifically serve these groups of women who are otherwise considered, you know, not in their best or whatnot, but they see the best of them in them. They can see it here today and call it out and work with them to see it for themselves, to manifest that best. And it's been such a tremendous opportunity to work with them, to meet the women who have come through the programs, the women who can say, you know what, I suffered with these various addictions and I suffered with this inability to connect with other people in meaningful ways. And I suffered this, you know, this lack of trust. And I walked into a room and nobody actually had to, you know, tell me that they were here for me. I felt it. It was real. It was real to a person who could not otherwise feel love, to walk into this room and know that people were there for her. And not only were they there in, you know, like an ethereal sense, but also with practical solutions. This is how we're going to help you. And emotional support. Pick up the phone and call me, you know? And to hear them talk about that and talk about that experience, to be 3 years down the road and say, hey, I've been sober for this long. I've been sober for this long, and now I have a university degree. You know, I've been sober for this long and I'm still dealing with my trauma, but I'm dealing with it. You know, I'm not hiding behind a needle or hiding behind a bottle or hiding behind any other substance. I'm going through the process. You know, I'm not trying to soothe myself with any of these external things anymore, because now I believe that there's love that I'm worthy of. that is there to help heal me and to help bring this newness of life to me. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help us here and just spread it out, my sisters. Spread it all out. Yes. Suemyya, any parting words for us before we go?
You are the biggest investment. Break the cycle.
That's right. That's right. Mic drop. You know.
Spread love. Spread love.
Yes,
spread love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will make sure that you can get connected to Suemyya. I'll drop her Facebook group link here with all of the videos, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. And that way you can join her group and learn so much more from her and tap into everything that she has there to offer. And we'll make sure that you have access to register to become a part of the masterminds. And we'll let you know when Suemyya's first mastermind will be in April. And so you can register for that. And also in April, you know, after closing off the first quarter, it's going to be springtime. Thank God. And we are just going to have so much fun coloring together in our event. Hey, sister, let's color, because it's all about that wind down. You know, we're looking at images and affirmations that empower us, that remind us to tap into that purpose behind the pain, that power, you know, all of it is there within us, and we tap into it and release it and bless the world with it. So make sure you get your me gifts, all right? Because we got some special treats for you there that have been curated by Divine Executive Concierge Inc. And our sister, whose voice you hear, that lovely voice in the background of our videos, Sophia Soj Jackson. She is also a mental health support worker and professional who believes in financial health and wellness as a part of the overall conversation on mental health. So we got all kind of different layers of conversations going on, sisters. We got so much for you, so much power packed into every moment. We are not here to dilly-dally. We're not here to waste time. We're not here to be jealous or envious, none of that. We are here to work on ourselves and work on our world and make it so much better. Suemyya, thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. See you all in the masterclass.
Yes, please. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern time, right here. Bye.
Lots of love, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Hey, sister, sitting store, what am I about to preach on? Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way.